together because not only this is important to us, but it's important to our community to gather us, to bring us here and to unite us as one. So by saying that, without further ado, I would like to introduce Brother Karim R. Ellis. Thank you, thank you.
I'll be patient. I'm working on it. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna make it.
It's one of our local superheroes, by the way.
Thank you so much. Well, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Come on, y'all can do better than that. It's 2016. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
All right, awesome, awesome. Yes, I'm going to be the keynote speaker, so I'm probably going to be the person to round this thing out. And when Brandon first approached me on this, I had the difficult challenge of trying to figure out what I wanted to talk about. He approached me originally and said he wanted me to talk about something in the realm of faith. But for me personally, I can't talk about faith without discussing the concept of vision. Because for me personally, faith and vision go hand in hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually cover 3 different personal scenarios from my life. And they're going to be personal. And it's the belief that when the Creator allows us to go through a test, that test ultimately becomes your testimony. Because we'll run into folks that are going through similar situations. And that storyline may be something that helps someone else to make it through their personal situation. Now, here's the other thing, guys. I'm an interactive speaker. That means that I like to pick on people from time to time to help me out. And since I came up here on crutches, I really need you guys to help me out. So, talking about the concept of faith, somebody help me out. What's your personal definition of faith? If I had to ask you what's your definition of faith, what would you tell me?
The belief in things that I cannot see.
She said the belief in things that she cannot see. Anybody else?
Trust.
Trust. Anybody else?
Knowing that you were created.
Knowing that you are created. Those are all valuable definitions of the word faith. What I did before coming out here, I actually went through and pulled 2 definitions directly off of Google. So I'm going to run through these definitions before I jump into the presentation. When I typed in the word faith, the first thing that came up said, the firm belief in something for which there is no proof, complete trust. The firm belief in something for which there is no proof, complete trust. Now, my favorite definition actually comes from the book of Hebrews 11:1, where it says, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You know, my first journey with faith took place around the age of 26. When I graduated high school, I fell in love with my high school sweetheart. We moved in together, and everything went fine up until about the age of 26. That's when we decided to just kind of fall apart. Now, it wasn't bad with the breakup. What was bad was, since I was the older of the couple in the relationship, all the bills and debt was in my name. You know, when you break up with somebody, you can't get them to help you pay bills, right? So I'm in a precarious situation. I have all the debt of a 2-income household placed on a 1-income person. On top of that, my credit was shot because I couldn't pay all the bills, so I couldn't get my own place. I couldn't get my own apartment. So for 3 months, I found myself literally sleeping outside of my car. On days when I could get away with it, I would sneak into the job and sleep on the floor underneath my little cubicle. And that took place up until the cleaning crew found out that I was sneaking in there and told management. So eventually I was forced to move back home at the age of 26. Now, here's the reality, guys. For 18 years of our life, we grew up dreaming about the day we can move out of mom and dad's house. And here I am at the age of 26, being forced to move back in and sleep on the couch. The problem with me was this: I got really depressed about my situation and my circumstance and my environment. So I was one of those depression type eaters. That means I started going on a binge run, and I gained about 30, 40 pounds. Got really sluggish with my health. On top of that, my performance at the job fell off. So before I knew it, the job fired me because I wasn't meeting their standards of excellence. So here I am, 26 years old, overweight, out of shape, sleeping on my parents' couch with no prospect of a job in sight. And all these bills are coming due. I got MasterCard, Discover card. I was easily about $25,000 in debt. Couldn't even get a temp job to hold me down. You know, it's kind of crazy because that situation took place in my life for about a year to a year and a half. Anybody here want to guess why I was stuck in that situation for so long? Because here's the reality: I shouldn't have been stuck there for more than 6 months. What do you think was the reason why I was stuck there for a year and a half? I quit trying. That's one valid answer. Anybody else? Lost faith. That's a very close one I'm looking at. Let me give you the reality of faith. There's a law that goes along with faith, and some of you guys may not be familiar with it, but I think it's going to help some folks out in the room today. Faith to me is like a loaded weapon. When I use it properly, I can hit my target every time. But you understand that if I don't know what I'm doing, I can actually maim or kill something that I'm not supposed to do. See, for a lot of us, we always think about faith in the positive aspect, where faith is going to uplift us. But it says right here that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So that means that I can have faith in the negative sense. I can get so used to being broke, busted, and disgusted that I believe by faith that that's what I'm supposed to have. And I'll be stuck in a situation longer than I'm supposed to be. Well, why am I discussing that with you right now? Because for 2016, I feel that some of you guys left 2015, and that's the situation you're facing right now. Maybe you have more bills and debt than you thought you'd have. Maybe you're a single parent household at this point. You can't get to your significant other to help you out. You know, maybe it's a situation where the job just lets you go. Maybe you're facing foreclosure or repossession, because I've been through it all. I've had the car repossessed. I've had the credit card shut down. I had the bank accounts closed for non-sufficient funds. And the reason why I was stuck there, because I was receiving my situation. I actually believed that this is what I was supposed to go through. In other words, my words would dictate the results of the world around me. I had a mouth where all I would talk about is, man, all I see is bills. So guess what came in the mail every month? More bills. I can't get out of this situation. I can't get off my parents' couch. Well, that's exactly what happened. I was stuck on my parents' couch. So the first lesson I want to impart on you is be very careful how you use the concept of faith. Because what you believe is what you'll receive. If you believe in negative circumstances, that's what your life will draw to you. It's kind of funny because I look at my life now. I'm 39 years old. I'm blessed to have a house paid off. We bought it cash. I don't have a mortgage. My cars are paid off cash. I got my dream car about a year ago. It's a Porsche convertible. Bad, white, love it. It's funny because at the age of 26, I couldn't see that in my mind. I got over $300,000 between two bank accounts. I'm not hurting for cash. I haven't had a credit card in over 20 years. And don't miss them. I'm not saying I don't have bills, because everyone has bills, but I don't have any debt. A far cry from how I was at the age of 26 stuck on my parents' couch, because I learned how to master the art of aiming my faith towards what it was I want to achieve. So the first thing I want you to understand is in 2016, be very cognizant about how you're aiming your faith, because what you believe is what you're going to receive. The second lesson came to me about the age of 28. Guys, I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. I'm a strong believer that whatever it is you were put on this planet and designed to do, God has already given you the gifts and talents. See, for most folks that haven't figured it out, they haven't spent enough time looking inside their toolbox to see what I'm already sitting on right now. I'm a gifted speaker. When I was a kid, I would get in trouble for talking too much. That's my gift and talent. My job was simply to develop it. Now I'm a motivational speaker. I'm part of the John Maxwell team. I actually talk in front of companies and organizations. They'll pay me anywhere from $10,000 to $5,000, $10,000, depending on what they need me to come out and speak. And that's for like an hour of my time. It was kind of funny because I never saw myself here back when I was 28 years old. When I was 28 years old, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I knew I personally didn't want to work for somebody else, but I wasn't sure how to get that dream off the ground. Here's the big dilemma with most of the folks in the room, because I run into so many people that I've coached and spoken to over the past course of 10 years. Everyone will tell me what their dream is. But most of them will never pursue it because they're not sure how to get started. In other words, they'll look at themselves like I did and say, I don't possess the education. I don't have the financial resources. I'm not connected with the right people. So how in the world can I take a step in that lateral direction to get this big dream or goal off the ground? Again, it's by faith. See, I own two businesses at this point in time. I own a real estate investment business and a motivational speaking business. Both are doing very well. I haven't worked for somebody in over 20 years at this point. And personally, for me, I don't miss it. The best part of my day is I get up when I choose to get up. No one tells me the time I got to clock in at. Now, I'm not saying that to brag, but I'm saying that because I'm sure that everyone in this room has some sort of goal or dream that they want to go after. So the second lesson I want to give to you is don't get stuck on the fact of what you don't know. See, when I received what I wanted to go after by faith, then I just walked in the general direction. And you'll be amazed that when you start to walk in the general direction of what you want, doors will simply begin to open. Folks will start to be drawn to you to help you get that big dream or vision off the ground. I didn't know anything about real estate, nor did I know anything about the speaking business. But 20-something years later, I'm still here and I'm still standing. So the second lesson is when you pursue things by faith, don't focus on what you don't have. Just focus on the track of going after what it is that you want. The Creator above will give you all the resources for the job at hand. Now, the third lesson is very personal because it just happened to me recently. It happened to me November 3rd last year. Guys, I woke up, went to the gym, left the gym. I remember going into a apartment complex parking lot just to turn around. And in my journey of going through this parking lot, I happened to come across a couple that was arguing outside. Young lady couldn't have been more than 5'5". The gentleman, a little bit taller than me, so I'd say he's about 6'1", maybe 6'2". And as I sat there and watched them argue, I seen him raise his fist like he was getting ready to hit her. Now, I'm old school, guys. I'm a product of the 80s. So I was always raised that a man doesn't hit a woman. So before I knew it, I found myself outside the car, not to get into an altercation with this young man, but just kind of calm him down and break it up. So as I approached the gentleman and say, hey, calm down, calm down. Before I knew it, this guy reached in his waist and pulled out a gun. No words, just simply pulled the trigger. It's kind of funny because I can remember it just like it was yesterday. I can still smell the gunpowder residue as the gun went off. I can still remember that distinctive pop because it's funny because you watch these TV shows about gunshots, it always sounds like they're louder than what they really are. It wasn't even a loud pop at all. And I also remember when the bullet actually struck my knee. It's kind of funny because after he shot me, he ran up on me and tried to approach me. And I remember trying to back away from him, not realizing how much damage had been done. Before I knew it, my back leg just buckled. Here I am on the ground with a guy with a gun aimed directly at my chest. What would you do in that situation? I'm going to tell you what I did. The very first thing I said to him, I said, listen, I'm a father, I have a daughter, do not take my life. It's kind of funny because I saw the look in his eyes. I could tell that man was not ready to stop from pulling that trigger. Second thing I said to him is I said, in the name of God, please do not take my life. And for a moment, he hesitated. Lowered the gun, turned around in anger, walked off. The young lady goes after him. And in that moment, I decided to get to my feet and get to my car. Because I don't know if this guy's going to come back. Now, here I am without the use of my kneecap. I can feel the bullet stuck in the knee. I'm hobbling back to the car as quickly as I can. Now, I'm in the parking lot, and I have no clue where this guy's at, what car he's driving. For you to be crazy enough just to pull a gun out and just shoot without saying any words, I don't know if this cat's going to follow me back home or not. So I get in my car, and I drive out of the parking lot as fast as I can. Here's my dilemma. My car is a stick shift. So I'm in pain the whole time trying to get out of this parking lot. I make it to the intersection, and I'm thinking, do I call 911 now, or what do I do? And I look over, and I see this Caucasian lady. Now I'm screaming inside this car in pain. This lady looks at me, turns around, rolls the window up, and looks straight ahead. And so I told myself, you can't stop this car here. You can't stop this car here. And so I jump on the highway, get back to my house. It's about 10 minutes away. I'm calling 911 on the phone. So by the time I get home, there's about 20 police officers showing up. They throw me on the gurney, get me in the ambulance. They take me to the hospital. They get me inside the emergency room, and they cut all my clothes off. I'm up here just trying to protect myself. Like, come on, y'all. You ain't got to cut my drawers off. Y'all can at least leave me the drawers. But it's kind of funny how faith works in reverse. You know, as they look at the damage to my knee and say there's so much bleeding going on. We haven't taken an x-ray of your leg, so we don't know the situation. But if your kneecap is shattered, we're going to have to amputate your leg from the knee down. It's kind of funny how when you put in a precarious situation like that to test your faith, the enemy will give you a word and then walk away to see what you're going to do. So here I am sitting on this gurney in pain, hearing that I may not be able to walk on stage the same way again when my goal and dream has always been to walk on stages all over the world. But if it wasn't for my faith. See, here's the reality with most of us. We'll get diagnoses by doctors. And they'll tell us certain things, and we'll receive it because we don't want to counteract the negative with the positive, which is by my faith. When they took the x-ray, they said, listen, this is amazing. Your bone was so strong that the bullet shattered into 5 pieces. We got out as much as we can. We got a little bit of fragments still left in there. We're going to prescribe you for physical therapy, and by God's grace, you should be walking and running again in no time flat. I ditched my 2 crutches last week. I'm down to 1 crutch now. Some of you guys see me trying to hobble around without it. Because by faith, I received the concept that I'm going to walk and run again without an issue. This one here is for anyone that's dealing with any type of medical situation that you brought out from 2015 to 2016. Your faith dictates your results. Don't let a doctor tell you something and let you receive it if that's not the outcome that you want to hear. Because ultimately, the battle is yours inside of your mind. Now, I can't talk about faith without talking about vision, because I'm going to be honest with you. The two of them go side by side. They go hand in hand. I mean, faith and vision is just like peanut butter and jelly. Nobody I know wants just a peanut butter sandwich. It's like oxtails and cornbread. It's like macaroni and cheese. You don't sit around and eat macaroni without cheese. The two go together. So that's how you look at faith and vision. So let me talk about vision for a second. You know, it's kind of funny because you can't have vision without faith. By show of hands, how many people here have used the GPS in the last year? Okay, good. So you guys want to catch this really, really quick. You know, it's kind of funny because the very first time I came to the Urban League, and I didn't mention this earlier, I'm actually the leadership and development chair for the young professionals this year. So the very first time I came to the Urban League about 3 years ago, I didn't know where this location was at on Reading Road. So I put 3458 Reading Road into my GPS, and just like a miracle, it kicked out step-by-step instructions on how to get here. Isn't that wonderful how technology works? You figure out where you want to go, you give it the address, and it kicks you out step-by-step instructions on how to get there. But by faith, I have to believe that if I follow these step-by-step instructions, I'll get to my vision of where I want to go. You guys are catching that, right? Is this helping anybody right now? Okay, so check this out. Watch this one. It's kind of funny because if you guys know how a GPS works, a GPS, when you give it an address, it kicks up to the overhead satellite out in space. And that overhead satellite beams back down instructions as far as how you get there. Now, I believe in an almighty creator. And so for me to walk the walk that I walk right now, that means I must be connected with my overhead satellite at all times. See, here's the reality. There's only a few times in my life where my GPS failed to work. And that's when I go through what I call a dead zone or a dead spot. I'm going someplace. You guys hang with me. See, it works the same way with a cell phone. See, there's certain places in the city, there's certain apartments you go to where you can have your cell phone, but the moment you walk into that dead zone, it cuts off its signal. You can't hear what the conversation on the other end. You can't text, you can't tweet, you can't surf social media because you've lost the signal. And it's kind of funny because when I put an address in my GPS can tell me that I'm literally 20 seconds away from my location. And if I hit a dead spot, I no longer receive that signal. That means I can go barreling right past my exit and not have a single clue. Here's a question for you going into 2016. Where are the dead spots in your life right now? Where are the dead spots and the dead zones in your life right now? See, for many of you, whether you fail to see it or not, some of you have friends and relatives and family members that are dead zones. That means you can have a vision stuck up here, but the moment you get around them, you lose all signal and distraction over what you're supposed to be here to do. For some of you, it's jobs. The jobs are the dead zone. You have gifts and talents that are immeasurable, and you're wasting them in an area where they'll never go and develop to what they're designed to do. There's a reason why I'm not working for somebody right now, because I took full advantage of my God-given gift and talent. For some of you, maybe organizations you belong to. Here's my challenge for you in 2016. Spend a little bit of time analyzing the dead spots and the dead zones in your life. Because you can't get a signal when you're in a dead zone, and you might just happen to miss your exit ramp. And the last message I'm going to give to you, and this is really, really personal, but I think this is the core of the message. It involves a buddy of mine who's married. You know, about 4 years ago, he got caught cheating on his wife. Now, who here would like to guess how that took place? Who here would like to guess how he got caught? Facebook. It wasn't Facebook. That's a good one. Anybody else? No, nobody told on him. Is anybody else? Nope, y'all didn't get it. I got to help y'all out, so I'll keep y'all here all night. Okay. So, this gentleman worked at a job for about 6 years. This job never had overtime. Never had overtime. And so out of nowhere, he tells his wife, honey, we got this new client. They need every able body on the field. So I'm going to have mandatory overtime for the next couple months. And she thought nothing of it. And so for 2 weeks, he's disappearing and showing up here and showing up there, and she thought absolutely nothing of it. 2 weeks out, she decides to go to this little boutique out in Butler County, but she forgot the address and couldn't figure the phone number out. But she remembered inside the car that she had put the address in the GPS, and the GPS has a history log. So when she pulled up the history log, this particular GPS gave everything that was punched in over the course of the last 2 weeks. Not only addresses, but times. So you got movie theaters popping up. You got restaurants popping up. And you got a couple hotels popping up. Now, why am I telling you this? Because I'm not trying to give the ladies in the room how to catch your man cheating 101. So hang with me, I'm going somewhere on this. Here's the reality of it. If I were to approach this gentleman in the front row, if I approach this young lady on the end down here, and I say, give me your life's GPS so I can take a look at your history log, will I find that you've been cheating on your goal and dream with someone else's agenda? See, I find a lot of folks that don't achieve greatness because they're spending too much time putting other people's addresses and goals into their personal GPS. So what's in your GPS right now? It's almost impossible to get to your destination if you're spending all your time chasing someone else's dream. You know, I think I've delivered enough at this point that I want to cut it to a close. So as I wrap this thing up, I want you guys to understand that as you enter 2016, I want you to always be cognizant of your faith. Understand that how you direct your faith will direct your results. But also understand that faith must be paired with vision. Without a vision, the people perish. Guys, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you guys for coming out. I hope you guys have a blessed and prosperous 2016.